Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown, you all. This is the last part of my National Championship Game preview. The previous three videos, I talked about the Georgia defense, the Georgia offense, and Jake Fromm and Jalen Hurts. So if you haven't seen those, you can go look at those. But today, or in this video, I'm just going to talk about the keys and the matchups. And spoiler alert, is very simple. These teams like to run the ball. It's going to be about who's more physical in the trenches. It's going to be about who can hold up well with their blocks, who can make the least amount of mistakes, all that good stuff. But I'm going to talk specifically about some things that could be very important. So first of all, if you don't know, Alabama starting right guard Lester Cotton, he's out of the game. He got hurt last week. Unfortunately, he played really well, probably his best game of the season. But in his place will be number 63, J.C. Hassenauer, who's been the top backup all year long. He's a solid guy. The coaches trust him. He came in against Clemson and played well. Didn't stink it up. He played well. But the interesting thing about that is that Georgia's most dangerous player on defense, Tyler Clark, and this is my opinion. Some people say Roquan Smith, but I believe Tyler Clark is their most dangerous player on defense, number 52. He will be on that side sometimes, rushing the passer, and he will basically be going up against J.C. Hassenauer and probably our weakest guy in pass protection, Matt Womack. So one of those two, or probably both of them, are going to be on him at some point in the game. And the question is, can they hold up against him? Because he makes very good use of his size and his strength and quickness. And it's going to be interesting to see how they decide to attack him, or if they let Hassenauer try to handle him one-on-one. That's going to be very important to what plays out with this game's pass protection for Alabama and what Georgia wants to do defensively. Moving on from that, though, we have DeAndre Baker, Georgia's best cornerback, who plays the boundary cornerback position, which is the right side of the field, and Calvin Ridley, who plays the left wideout spot. They'll be on each other, and it'll be interesting to see what Georgia does here. Most likely, it'll be a double team anyway. No, I haven't seen a team try to single cover Calvin Ridley, at least not successfully. So it'll be interesting to see if Georgia will try to leave DeAndre Baker by himself on Calvin Ridley. DeAndre Baker is a really good corner, but Calvin Ridley is one of the best wide receivers in the nation. So that's going to be something to look out for if Alabama decides to go after him, if they decide to leave him alone by himself. Now, moving on to Georgia's offense. Georgia has a heavy pro-style set they like to use. They usually don't go beyond two wide receivers. I talked about this. They usually use two tight ends, or one tight end and a fullback. And so that front has had to go up against Alabama's front. The question that I'm interested in is, can the tight ends for Georgia, number 83 Blazevich and 18 Nata, can they block Alabama's outside linebackers who just came back with their quick tip pass? These are our best pass rushers. Christian Miller, number 47, Terrell Lewis, number 24. We lost Anthony Jennings, who was hurt last week, but these guys actually are probably more of the more technical pass rushers, so it'll be interesting to see if they can stay in front of these guys. And of course, you got the backups like Jamie Mosley and Mekhi Brown, etc. So how can those tight ends, or will Georgia leave those tight ends by themselves at times to block these guys? And will that be effective? The flip side of that is, how will Bama play those heavy pro-style sets? Will Alabama put more people on the line of scrimmage? You know, sometimes I've seen people, when they play Georgia, put like 5 or 6 people on the line of scrimmage, like all of their defensive line and then outside linebackers, to maintain leverage so they don't get blown off the ball, creating gaps for these talented Georgia running backs to cut up the field. So I wonder if Alabama's just going to play a more heavy line and put more people on the line of scrimmage. Most likely I can see that happening when they go into those heavier sets, but we'll see. Also, I'm interested in to see what Mack Wilson, who's number 30 for Alabama, he's going to be basically playing Mike linebacker. Now, he's a better pass coverage guy. He does really well in pass coverage, and he runs sideline to sideline. He's not usually the most heavy guy. He doesn't like stop blockers in their tracks. So if those Georgia linemen get on him, because they're big, if they get on him, I wonder how well can he hold up and maintain the leverage and not getting blown off the ball. Because I've seen him at times get pushed back a little bit. So his ability to fight through blocks is going to be very important. Him and Rashaan Evans, they're both not really huge middle linebackers. So that's something to look out for. And with that, will the defensive line for Alabama be on fire again? You know, like they were in the Clemson game, they were set out to prove something, that they can't be stopped, that they deserve to be here. Will they play like that again? If they play like that again, Alabama wins this game, I'm sure. But this will determine if they are playing that well. If they play that well, this will determine if Alabama can let their front handle the running game and make Georgia one-dimensional and make them pass into a heavily covered secondary. The wide receivers, who they only run about 2 wide receivers anyway. So this would be very important. But if Alabama can force Georgia to be one-dimensional, Georgia's going to have to open up their playbook a little bit more and put more wide receivers on the field, which we haven't seen a lot. So that's going to be something interesting if Jake Fromm is placed in that position. And with that, it goes into my next point. Jake Fromm will have tighter windows to throw into. And these Alabama corners are really good. The Georgia receivers are solid. Like I said, I talked about that in the offense video. But can they be game changers? Can Javon Weems beat Anthony Averett consistently? Can Terry Godwin beat Levi Wallace, one of the most underrated cornerbacks in the nation, consistently? That is going to be a question to determine if they are a one-dimensional offense or not, and whether or not they can get through or make Alabama back up off the running game. That's going to be very important. Not to mention that the tight ends, they like to pass the ball to them. So one question that's going to be important is Mack Wilson and Rashaan Evans can't get too caught up in the running game because they may have to cover some of these tight ends. And on play action, if they get sucked into that, those tight ends get behind them. So it's going to be whether or not Rashaan Evans and Mack Wilson stay disciplined. But if Alabama decides to leave them in the front and let the safeties handle the tight ends, then it's going to be Minka Fitzpatrick and Ronnie Harrison on Blazevich and Nata, which makes for some interesting possibilities as well. So this game is a lot of fun. And like I say, it's very simple, but it's a lot of fun to see who's going to match up with who. And overall here, we're getting down to the end. Georgia has been run on a little bit this season. I've seen their defense kind of give a little bit of run yards. Not a lot. They still a really good defense, but every once in a while, Auburn was able to run on them a little bit. Even in the SEC championship game, actually, before Carry-On just ultimately went down. Will Georgia sell out to stop the run against Alabama like other teams have? LSU did it, Mississippi State did it, Auburn did it, Clemson did it, and they're trying to make Jalen Hurts beat them. Will Georgia do that? If they do, they're going to have to trust their secondary to hold up here. And actually, my question before that all is, will Kirby Smart find it necessary to start the game like that? That is something very important. That'll determine what they want to do defensively. And finally, one last thing is concerning those Georgia's outside linebackers, Davin Bellamy and Lorenzo Carter. And that is if Matt Womack can handle the pressure of Lorenzo Carter or Davin Bellamy if they're on him when they're in situations where the outside linebackers are in one-on-one. Will Alabama let Jonah Williams and Matt Womack try to handle them one-on-one? Jonah Williams may be on Bellamy sometimes, and sometimes Bellamy may be on Matt Womack, and Lorenzo Carter may be on Womack or Williams as well. So those are some interesting and critical matchups that can determine the outcome of this game. Something to look out for. Like, it's very simple. It's going to be about who wins in the trenches, who wins their matchups, who dominates the other team, and that makes football fun. So that's it. Obviously, I'm a Bama supporter. I think Alabama can do these things. I think Alabama can win in their matchups. Alabama actually specialty is stopping pro-style offense. Nick Saban spent so much time in the pros. So much emphasis on stopping the run. So if anybody can stop Georgia's run, I think Alabama is poised and primed to do it the most. But with that said, Georgia's head coach was studied under Nick Saban, so he knows what Nick Saban's like to do. So he may try to attack. He may have his offensive coordinator, Jim Chaney, try to attack in a way that Nick Saban may not be expecting, obviously. So it's going to be an interesting chess match between these two as well. But if it's about coaching, I got to give it to Saban, who is the veteran, who's older, who's more experienced, who's best coach in college football. While Kirby's on his way up, he hasn't got Nick Saban's level. So that is something to look out for as well. Man, this matchup has me more excited the more I dug into it. So we'll see what happens in this game. Let me know what you think is going to happen. Let me know what you think are the most critical and key matchups in this game. Do you think J.C. Hassenauer can handle Tyler Clark? Do you even think I missed one of the more critical matchups? Put that in the comments. Let me know what you think the outcome of this is going to be. I'll see you after the game. See you next time.